now at 11, stabbed in a park in broad daylight. A man rushed to the hospital after he was attacked here in Chelsea.
In the coronavirus emergency, gyms, movie theaters, and more reopening their doors across Massachusetts. The new guidelines in place to try to keep everyone safe.
And we're back into the low 80s for tomorrow, but then heating up to end the week. Plus, a vulgar response to a show of support. What a man in South Boston is saying after finding this note posted on his door.
And ready to play ball. When you can expect the Sox to throw out their first pitch at Fenway. 7 News at 11 starts now.
First at 11, a terrifying attack at a popular park in Chelsea in broad daylight. Police now investigating a stabbing that sent a man to the hospital.
And now detectives are trying to figure out who is responsible. The night team's Justin Doherty has more tonight.
And again, this stabbing happened in broad daylight just before 5 o'clock this evening, and it really was a packed park at the time. But tonight, police say no arrests have been made, and that victim remains in the hospital in serious condition. Police tape and state troopers surround the scene where a man in his 30s was stabbed in the eye and neck at Mary O'Malley Park in Chelsea. Just feet away, a packed park with friends and families enjoying an evening by the water.
Came up and he was on the ground, suffering some stabbing, bullying.
Luis Ramirez says he knows the victim and happened to be walking to the park at the time of the stabbing.
He had a cut to his neck.
Where? Once he saw his friend's wounds, he called 911.
It was a lot of blood.
The victim was quickly taken to Mass General, where he remains tonight. Police say his injuries are serious, but not life-threatening.
My thought and prayer to his family. Hopefully he recovers from it.
Now again, no arrests have been made, and we have learned tonight the district attorney's office is assisting in the investigation. In Chelsea, Justin Doherty, 7 News 19.
Tonight on 7, gym members pumped up.
Feels good to be able to finally be moving my body.
And moviegoers heading back to the box office.
We'll have a divider here, space for the sacred butter.
More businesses opening their doors as Massachusetts phases forward.
Yes, we're moving on to the next step in the state's reopening process, phase 3 starting today. But there are plenty of guidelines to help keep people safe, and the city is a little behind this timing. Night team's Alex Deprado with the latest.
Gyms reopening here in Massachusetts, but not yet for Boston. Theaters and museums are also on the reopening list.
There is no longer just a wipe down at HealthWorks in Cambridge, but also a professional disinfectant sprayer between the allotted hour-long workouts.
Each box is set at least 14 feet away from another box.
For the first time since mid-March, gyms in Massachusetts are back open, like here at Evolve Fitness in Cambridge.
Getting into routine is great for your mental health, physical health, so it all feels good.
Machines are marked with X's for social distancing. At Blink Fitness in Medford, they're sanitizing too, but wondering if all their members will come back.
The jury is still out on that. We hope so. The bottom line is that people have to come in and check it out. I think that they'll really see that this is a very safe environment.
Under the state's guidelines, masks are required. Gyms can only fill to 40% of their capacity. Equipment stations must be 14 feet apart, and partitions are required where 6 feet social distancing isn't possible. Plus, the after-workout routine has changed too.
There will be no sauna available, and the showers are not available for the first few weeks.
And it's action as movie theaters outside of Boston reopen too. At the West Newton Cinema, dividers are being installed.
The show times will be staggered to allow for cleaning in between showings. All of our staff will wear gloves and masks.
Museums across the state got the green light to reopen as well. In Boston, it's a week delayed at the mayor's request. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum will swing open their doors next week. The Museum of Fine Arts hasn't made a decision on when they will reopen.
Casinos also getting the go-ahead under Phase 3. Encore Boston Harbor plans to reopen on July 12th. In Cambridge, I'm Alex Deprado, 7 News Night Team.
It will soon be game on for Major League Baseball. The league releasing the schedule for the shortened season. Tonight, we know who the Red Sox will play when they head back to the Diamond at Fenway. Sports director Joe Amorosino live in the newsroom with details. Joe?
The Red Sox set to open up their season on Friday, July 24th at Fenway Park against the Orioles. They'll play 10 games against each of the other teams in the American League East for a total of 40 plus 20 games against the National League East for that grand total of 60.
Try to come out to a fast start. If you don't, you know there needs to be a couple hot streaks. Somewhere in there, you have to get hot.
And the Red Sox learning what it's going to take to get hot during this 60-game abbreviated season, with Major League Baseball handing them their schedule tonight. After opening with the Orioles at Fenway, they'll see the Yankees a week later in New York, their first of 10 against the Yankees. And they'll finish the regular season against the Braves, who they'll see 6 times as their natural interleague rival. The Red Sox wrapping up day 4 of summer camp at Fenway Park. Still no Eduardo Rodriguez, with the Sox lefty awaiting his test results after he was around someone who was sick. But Sox manager Ron Renicky doesn't sound too concerned about Erod's delayed arrival.
We feel like that where he was, because I know how much he was throwing before we started up. We felt really good with him being ready for the start.
Training camp in 3 other major league cities hitting a snag. Delays with COVID-19 testing results forcing the Astros, Cardinals, and Nationals to cancel workouts. Sox outfielder Jackie Bradley Jr. hopes the kinks get ironed out soon.
Hopefully it gets better in order for everyone to be able to, do their jobs.
One other interesting note on the Red Sox schedule, all 23 of their evening games at Fenway Park are scheduled for 7:30 instead of the traditional 7:10. Reporting live in the newsroom, Joe Amorosino, 7 News Night Team.
Concerns about the numbers across the country. More than 30 states now seeing an increase in coronavirus cases, and some leaders are saying they reopened too soon. My team's Ryan Schulteis live in our newsroom with details on that.
And Kim, Texas and Florida are both seeing staggering numbers of new cases, and in both spots, some hospitals are about to hit capacity.
You can't do funerals, but we've got hundreds of people down here on the beach.
Coronavirus cases continue to surge in 32 states.
Clearly, it is not over.
More than 27,000 new cases in Florida reported over the long holiday weekend, the state recording the most coronavirus cases in the U.S. in a single day. More than 200,000 people there are now infected with the virus.
I think the virus has just become very efficient at spreading. And what has happened is when one person gets it in a household, they come home. By the time they experience symptoms and get tested, everybody in the house is infected. So you go from a 1 person to a 4 or 5 person infection rate almost overnight.
Officials in Miami-Dade announcing a pause and some rollback of the reopening. Gyms, dine-in restaurants, and other businesses have been ordered to close in an attempt to curb the spread.
So those closed spaces, crowded places, and close contact settings really are what makes this thing spread.
Texas saw its second highest day of new cases over the weekend. The mayor of Austin says the city is 2 weeks away from running out of hospital beds.
There's a lesson to be learned, I think, in what's happened in Texas in May and June. We opened up in ways that were not sustainable, and now we're having to turn that curve.
Monday, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration granted emergency use authorization for a coronavirus antigen test that can get results in 15 minutes. The White House says there is reason for optimism.
You have the United States at a low case mortality rate. It's because of the extraordinary work that we've done.
Infection rates are holding steady in 14 states. Just 4 states, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Kentucky, New Hampshire, are seeing declines in new cases. In the newsroom, Ryan Schulteis, 7 News 19.
And Governor Baker is signing a vote-by-mail bill into law today. The changes are meant to maximize the number of people who can vote while minimizing the risk of COVID-19 during the upcoming election season. So the state secretary will now prepare to mail applications to all 4.5 million of the state's registered voters.
The night team now to the weather. Here's a live look across the beautiful city on this beautiful Monday. Nice one out there. After some strong storms yesterday, maybe you experienced them. So what's in store for tomorrow? Meteorologist Haisel Martinez is here with the forecast. Haisel.
Yeah, so dry for the day tomorrow and then tracking a few storms again for the afternoon on Wednesday. Today we reach into the low 80s inland along the coast, a little bit cooler thanks to an onshore breeze. Temperatures now, it's really not too bad out there. A little refreshing for some of us. 68 degrees right now in Fitchburg, 65 in Bedford, 64 in Boston. For tonight, we'll drop down anywhere from about 57 to 62 degrees. So it's going to be a nice night out there. A southeast wind right around 5 miles per hour. Some clouds move in overnight tonight. They'll be with us tomorrow morning, and temperatures will be in the mid and upper 60s. But then notice that we gradually clear up through the afternoon, and temperatures inland will make it into the low 80s. But temperatures along the coast will stay a little bit cooler with a southeast wind. So we're dry for tomorrow, and the chance for a couple of storms on Wednesday afternoon, and then another rain chance as we head into Friday night. We'll talk more about that coming up in a few minutes.
Also from the night team, the mayor of Braintree now promising more security after a shooting at the South Shore Plaza last week. A 15-year-old girl became an innocent victim. And tonight we're learning more about this shopping scare. Night team's Kimberly Bookman with details.
If you're a bad guy, don't come to the plaza, because we're going to catch you.
Braintree's mayor is not mincing his words. Just days after a shooting at the South Shore Plaza, the accused gunman is in jail without bail, and city leaders met with the mall's general manager about strengthening security here.
Friday was the 3rd. We celebrated the 4th of July on Saturday. We had a meeting first thing this morning, so we are not waiting. We are moving forward.
Police say just before 5 o'clock Friday, 21-year-old Jose Rodriguez confronted a gang member from a rival group, then opened fire outside the Expression sneaker store. The bullets grazing the chest and hand of a 15-year-old girl who was simply spending time at the mall.
Obviously, at 15 years old, I mean, this is traumatic.
The shooting caused both a lockdown and mass evacuation of the shopping mall. But as customers ran out, this former Marine went right in.
My training kicked in, and I just did what I thought had to be done, which was help save lives and take out a threat.
Josh Ackles took this video of the blood he says he found on the second floor of Nordstrom's. Court documents reveal police also spotted broken glass there and say they found the victim in one of the department store's restrooms. Detectives say cell phone video from witnesses helps investigations move quickly.
People are coming up saying, I have video, I have pictures, and we're passing that on to dispatch, and that's getting out to the responding units.
3 years ago, there was another shooting at the South Shore Plaza, also gang-related. After that incident, security was enhanced, helping this time around.
We have, a way of getting information out to many of the different stores all at once, which was something that we didn't have in 17.
Now, this meeting between city officials and the mall was scheduled before the shooting. Now, obviously, it takes on more urgency. In Braintree, Kimberly Bookman, 7 News, Night Team.
New from the night team, a nasty note with an expletive taped to the door of a South Boston couple's home. They found it after hanging a Black Lives Matter flag. Now the man who put up the flag is talking about the troubling message. The night team's Nathalie Pozzo has more.
The couple tells me they put up that Black Lives Matter banner to show their support for the movement, and this morning woke up to that nasty note.
It was White Lives Matter. They specifically called out white.
A South Boston man waking up to this, a disturbing note posted on his front door reading, White Lives Matter also, followed by an expletive, something he says he unfortunately expected.
From our experiences here, we've noticed that there's a lot of racial undertones that occur within this community.
Peter Bennett and his husband put up this Black Lives Matter banner to show their support, and he says he believes that is why the racist and grammatically incorrect note was posted. Bennett says some completely misunderstand the phrase Black Lives Matter, and that the movement's fight is to bring awareness to the inequality that exists and put an end to it.
And obviously, Black Lives Matter just as much as any lives matter, and I don't think anybody is saying that all lives don't matter. I think that right now Black lives just need more attention, and just to try to get that message across seems to be really challenging right now.
Bennett says he will continue to proudly display his banner. As for the note, he purposely left it up to make a point, but someone took it down a few hours later.
I mean, I just want people to see, that this is very, very alive in our community right here in Southie.
And the couple says they did not file a police report. In South Boston, Nathalie Pozzo, 7 News Night Team.
And a Black Lives Matter banner torn off the front of a church in Mendon. Church leaders posting the photo on Facebook saying the act only strengthens their resolve to rehang the banner and voice their support for Black Lives Matter. Mendon police are investigating. Meantime, the church has planned a Black Lives Matter vigil for tomorrow night.
And a mural with a message painted on the street in Nubian Square. A group of local artists coming together over the weekend to create a Black Lives Matter mural across the stretch of Washington Street near the business center of Roxbury. The work began after hundreds of demonstrators marched through the city demanding justice for black victims of police violence. The mural taking 2 days to complete. The stenciling the words began on Saturday and they filled in with yellow paint yesterday.
Also on 7, a spitting image inside an Acushnet Police Department holding cell. The man in this video, police say, is seen spitting in the air after they say he was assaulted an officer. The officer responded to reports of fireworks at a home Saturday night where police say a guest at the home tackled that officer. The officer says the man punched him 4 times before family members pinned him down. He then spat toward officers on scene. Robert Nebrega is now facing several charges, including assault and battery on an officer, disorderly conduct, and disturbing the peace. The officer, by the way, is okay and was able to return to work that night.
Still ahead tonight, pot shop pushback. A proposed medical marijuana facility in Hull is facing opposition from some residents.
And we had the lower humidity today. We'll have it again for tomorrow, but then it kind of just goes up from there. I'll have that forecast ahead.